Welcome, everyone, to the Menopause Renaissance Show. I am Shannon Harmony, and I am here with my beautiful friend, Christy Holt. Yay! I'll tell you a little bit about Christy. Christy Holt, aka the Happiness Hussy, which I love that to death, is on a mission to spread happiness around the world. And part of that mission, driven by Christy's own lived experiences, is helping women get unstuck in their love lives so they can create the epic relationships they deserve. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and kick off the show with you. And I know that we are going to have a juicy conversation today.
No, we are. And I said this to you prior to hitting record is you're the perfect first guest because I want this to be fun, right? Like we are so serious as human beings, and it's hard not to be with what's going on in the world.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be because it's so much about our perspective. And that is why I'm here with my unicorn headband, because it's just, man, we just got to stop taking ourselves so seriously, especially in this phase of life that we're in. Now, you're around 40-ish?
I'm 46 right now as time of recording. And it's an interesting process. I feel like things really shifted for me around my age, 39. That's when I had a big upheaval in my life, which I'm sure we'll get to all of the sort of specifics of that. But that's where things really shifted for me. And I started to see things really differently than I had for a long time. And I wouldn't even say it was some new awakening, some new discovery, as much as it was a remembrance of who I was before that actually set me free. So I can't wait to dive into that conversation and really get to the meat of what this midlife, I don't even know if I like that phrase. Like, I guess it's midway because I plan to be 100, but the sort of midlife journey of a woman living in a capitalistic, patriarchal society today in 2025, right? Like it's a lot.
It is. And it's interesting. I was chatting with ChatGPT. I call her Maya yesterday. And because I'm 50, I just turned 57 on Saturday, October 11th. And it's a weird age for me. And that's a whole other topic. But I was like, oh my God, I'm past midlife. Well, no, I would like to live to 120 if I was healthy. But I'm like, ChatGPT, what is midlife? What is that? What do people believe that to be? And it's more so a phase of life as opposed to a chronological age. I'm like, that I can buy into. Thank you.
Yeah. Sort of like this like jumping off point, right? Where the restrictive limits of society that maybe you have molded yourself to fit, you're like, they're feeling tight. Not just because your pants are tight, during menopause, but because the limits are feeling tight, you're feeling like there's something more, right? If you're like me, not sure how the hell to get it, not sure how to access that more, but still feeling like the shackles are weighing you down and it's time to fly free, right? So this to me, this midlife is an opportunity more than anything else because there's an opportunity to step into what do you really want? Who really are you? And what is all of that baggage that you have been carrying that you don't need to be carrying anymore? It's heavy. Set it down. This is like permission slip time for you to live your life instead of living probably the life that everyone else wanted for you or the one that you thought you should have.
Yep.
It's easy to get sucked into that.
That's what we're conditioned to do. You're in Canada, right?
I am, yeah.
And I'm in the US. So as women in the Western world, we are so conditioned to do, right? We're conditioned to do, we're conditioned to give, we're conditioned to put everyone else ahead of us. And I feel like that is actually like with the menopause phase, like that's our opportunity, as you said, to break free, to drop those damn shackles, escape the cage, and be who we want to be instead of who we believe we should be, we're expected to be, and all those other things. And society for generations has, how do I want to phrase this, in this phase of life where it's a decline. We're declining, we're aging, and society
Over the hill.
we're over the hill, and society's telling us that we are going to experience all these horrible things in this phase of life. So we dread it. We don't look forward to it. And then knowing that we create our reality with our thoughts and with our beliefs, we've been conditioned to believe that you're over 45, you're going downhill, life sucks, aging sucks. I mean, how many of our parents say, oh, aging's not for the weak? And so we expect that to happen. We
Yeah.
expect that to happen. We are trained to believe that menopause, that midlife, it's a time of decline and something to dread. And it's just, I know
I call bullshit.
it's total bullshit. I think I said that in my intro video. That's all bullshit. No. We get to choose who we want to be. We get to choose our experiences. And yes, it is a biological fact that at some point in our lives, our estrogen will decline. That is biological. I can't dispute that fact. But the
So
way
maybe if you didn't believe it, it wouldn't happen. I don't know, right?
I
Like our mind is so powerful, or maybe it would still happen, but our experience of it could be very different. And this is the power of the mind to say what we believe we come to expect. And what
exactly.
we expect creates in turn our reality. We often think we're experiencing reality, that reality is happening out there,
Yeah.
is happening much to our chagrin, out of our control. It's just happening to us. And that we feel often like, at least I did, when if I look back 10 years ago, I felt like there was very little that I could do about it.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because this is the game that our mind plays on us to tell us that there's nothing we can do. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's actually about keeping us safe in what's familiar and certain and known, instead of the grand possibilities that you actually are dreaming about for your life, those passions that you want to explore, but somehow, somewhere, someone told you maybe that's for young people. Maybe you're too old for that. Maybe you're not smart enough to do that. Maybe you don't have this quality to do. It's all stories.
All the stories. I call them spells. They're just spells that would get cast upon us, and when we get to break them. And one of the things that I wanted to talk with you about is, because it's part of your mission and it's part of mine, is self-love, and
Mhm.
how challenging that can be from the get-go, from the time we come out of the womb or before the womb, and bring in ancestral trauma and all that other stuff that Shannon loves. But I know for me, that has been, maybe it is just a general human experience, but that has been the most challenging aspect of my life, is loving myself for who I am. To like 10 years ago, I never would have come on here with the unicorn horn on, like that fear of judgment and the fear of all these fears that I'm less than, that I'm not good enough, and all the stories that I told myself that I then attracted people to prove my mind right. Because I think we have a similar story, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I had two abusive marriages. So sexual trauma, dysfunctional childhood, and all of this stuff I don't need to talk about here. But it was really challenging to love myself through all of that when I had people telling me I wasn't lovable. And,
Absolutely.
the past 8 years, that's when synchronicities and creating my own reality and just my soul contract, I suppose we could say, I found my energy medicine mentor who helped me then obliterate so much of this impact of this trauma and rewire my beliefs and help my energy and all these sorts of things. This was the thing I was going to tell you about. Was last June, my best friend passed away from cancer. And our little group of friends, we had a lot of drama. And I ended up getting rosacea.
Mm.
In my mind, horrible rosacea. Everyone around me, oh, I don't really notice it. Well, I think you're just lying to me to be nice, but
The stories we tell ourselves.
right. I was like, oh, it looks really awful to me. And of course, my camera, even though I try to make it not make me look better, I don't know, like makes me look like I have perfect skin. But I've really gone through a journey with self-love the past year. And menopause for me started on, I had a partial hysterectomy and pelvic organ prolapse surgery on a 2/24 of 24. So August 8th, the Lions Gate of 2024, my hot flashes began that night. And so it's just been, I mean, between that and then I was on prednisone last year for my rosacea because my doctor didn't know it was rosacea. and prednisone makes rosacea worse. So I was this whole thing last fall, and I gained 10 pounds. I was trying to lose 20 pounds. So this past year has been another trip up the spiral of self-love. Can Shannon love herself even with all of these outer things going on? And so it's been really hard. And I've got the rosacea under control. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this now. But yeah, this past year's been such a journey for me. I haven't been on camera much because I would do Facebook Lives, I did events. Like, I pulled back from all of that. I wasn't walking my talk at all about not giving a shit what people think about you, right? It's like, oh,
Easier said than done. I mean, it's still natural that a part of you does care, and that part will never disappear. Like, it's
yeah,
part of our human makeup to care, and we don't have to let that rule us. We don't have to let others' opinions or thoughts drive the bus, okay, if you
yeah,
will. And
yeah,
I want to say too, because I think it's so interesting. So many women are so gripped by judgment, and the world around us has taught us to judge each other, to judge ourselves, to judge how we compare to everyone else. It
yeah,
is a vicious cycle. And what a lot of people, I think, might miss about this is that all judgment is, in effect, self judgment. There
yeah,
is no out there that you're judging. The whole thing is coming through your filter,
yeah,
your perspective. So your judgment has so much less to do with anything out there than you realize. It has entirely to do with perhaps your own insecurities, your own programming and conditioning. And I'm not saying we're jerks to ourselves on purpose. Absolutely not. This is just our normal. Probably we're hearing back things that our parents told us when we were younger, or those bullies at school, or the teacher that didn't believe you, the teacher that did believe in you, but it's all a cacophony
yeah,
in there. And what you focus on is what you experience. So there's these two pieces of this judgment, and you think you're judging someone out there, but it's actually about how you feel
yeah,
about yourself in this comparison. And your brain is designed to problem solve and to think and to solve and to figure out. So comparison is part of your brain's natural process. That's not the problem. It's when you start beating yourself up and going down this downward spiral of all of these negative things. And so
yeah,
to tie that into self-love, I also think that there is a disconnect in the way that we have been told about self-love. And there's a few other pieces I think that are sort of wrapped up in this. So people confuse self-care with self-love, okay? Self-care, and also then people within self-care confuse what self-care actually is, thinking like that this is just grooming, and it can be. But the
yeah,
distinction isn't what you're doing. It's the purpose, the intention, the meaning behind what you're doing. Is it really giving you life? Is it really nurturing your beingness? Then, yes, maybe it's self care. If it's showering because you haven't in a week because you're just that busy and maybe you just don't feel like, then maybe that's just necessity more than self care. It's that intent behind it. Why are you doing this? Is it to fulfill your need, your own needs, to fulfill your internal needs for expression or what experience, whatever it is that you want to create for yourself? And I think with self love, where people get confused is they think, well, I'm doing these things that may or may not be self care. I'm getting my nails done. Well, I get my nails done because I like to get my nails done. And so maybe that's self care. Maybe it's just I'm getting them done because they look terrible. And I wouldn't want anyone to think that I have terrible nails or see that I chew my nails. I don't actually chew my nails, but
yeah,
these are the thought processes that detract entirely from the nurturing process that we could be giving to ourselves. And then on the self love side, we confuse it with these actions. It's nothing to do with the actions, it's actually about consistency, because self love, it cannot exist in a fluctuation state. It either is or it isn't. And so it's not based on what you're doing or how you're being or how many times you made a mistake or the things that you did wrong or whether you're good enough. It's not based on any of those things. True self love is an acceptance of all that is. It is to say that I love and accept myself even when I'm struggling, even when I make a mistake, even when things aren't going like I thought they would, even when I'm learning and growing and trying to improve some area of my life. You can still love and accept yourself, coming with that compassion. I think that's really
Yeah.
more like what self-esteem is. It's not
Mhm.
affected or created by the things that you're doing. It
Right.
exists apart from that. This love is actually who you are, really. It is the beingness that is you. And we just get so confused because we think that we go around and we experience love from other people. And that's a mere confusion because we don't. That's not the way it is. Actually, we're really not experiencing anything out there. We're experiencing everything within ourselves. If you look around, literally look around your room and see something, you'll see it's just your interpretation of that thing, right?
Mhm.
Which is why there's so much confusion in the world because we've all had different experiences, 8.2 or 3 billion experiences. So, of
Yeah.
course, we see things differently than someone else. But what creates our experience is our interpretation of that, which is running, of course, through our filters, our perspectives, our mindsets, our beliefs, all of our past experiences and memories are shaping it. And more often than not, what we're seeing in the projection of our mind and our experience is a reflection of the past more than it is of the current moment. And so,
Yeah.
again, with that permission slip, invitation to just be here and now, to give yourself permission to love and accept yourself as you are. And this does require, for most people, did for me, like in my story, I'll put a little tiny bit of my story here. I was also in a very unhappy, unhealthy marriage. And I had this sort of aha moment where I was like, holy shit, how did I get here? I'd gotten to a point in the relationship where I don't know. I use this analogy all the time, but I literally can't think of a better one. Is when you're driving home, and of course, you're following the rules of the road on autopilot. You don't even have to think you've been driving for a long time. So you just drive home. You don't remember the drive.
Yeah.
Me and my relationship, I was like, holy shit, I don't remember the drive. How did I get here to this point where these things are happening? It seemed it was from zero to a thousand, but I know it wasn't. I know it was more of a slow boil to the
Yeah.
point where this is not okay with me. It took getting to that point where this shattered things for me. And I realized I can't keep going like this.
Yeah.
And so back to bringing that back into the self-love piece and the projection that's out there, we think that the love comes from other people. But what I realized in that process is that it wasn't that he was missing the love, it was that I was missing the love. It
Yeah.
was me. And I had this sort of like, holy shit, I'm the common denominator. Like, and then also like, now what? Because you can get really easily mired in the guilt and the shame. I should have, could have done things differently. Could have, should have, would have, whatever. All of those shoulds on ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's so important to remember that you're always doing the best you can with the resources and understanding that you have. And of course, later, when you look back, you're like, I have more resources and understanding, and I see that differently, and I would have made a different choice. Well, that's fair, of course. Now you have the information, but you didn't then. So why would you pile guilt and shame on yourself for doing the best you could? You wouldn't do that to your best friend. So why do we do that to ourselves? So allowing yourself to remember that we're always learning, we're always growing and evolving. Another thing that I see out there in the world that I'm sure a lot of women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, beyond are probably as sick and fucking tired as I am of it is this endless hamster wheel to achieve some version of quote unquote perfection
Yeah.
because you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're too wrinkled, you're too what not blonde enough, not big boobed enough. The rules are impossible. They're absolutely friggin' impossible. The supermodels that are on the magazine covers don't actually look like that. That's brilliant marketing, if we're honest. They have convinced us that we have all fallen short of this beauty standard. Let's just come back to reality.
Yeah.
We are actually good enough as we are. You're literally made perfect as you. You're the magical being that fits into this whole thing. That's you. There's no one else like you. Like it's a miracle. But how often do we stop and beat ourselves up for not being good enough instead of recognizing that we're the miracle? So I think that first piece of self love is really just recognizing the miracle that you are. You don't need to become someone else. You already her. And I think that is the true power. And I think that perhaps that is a portal, a threshold in which women, as they run out of fucks to give, essentially, have performing and playing and wearing the masks. And I think that's part of the magical appeal of the aging woman. She's stepping into her wisdom stepping out of the bullshit into her wisdom. And that's really powerful. And I think that's why now will sound like a little maybe conspiracy theorist, but women are really powerful. And some people who maintain power, men who have power of the world by way of the patriarchy, are very threatened by women having this power. Instead of reckoning like, holy shit, these women are incredible and they can literally change our world, they fear what they don't understand. I do believe we need more women in more roles and, more power. Like, not power over though, right? And that's
Right.
the difference, is that women in power wouldn't be friggin' starting wars. So we're generalizing, but the patriarchal system has pitted us against one another. And
Exactly.
it's not helped either gender or any of the other potential genders in between, because it is a spectrum. It
Right.
hasn't helped anybody. It has served to keep us trapped and stuck. Men are trapped in this perpetual, I need to win and I need to be strong and mighty and at all costs.
Hmm.
And women are taught to be nurturing, good girls. We're supposed to be nice and gentle and soft and just like easy to walk on, I guess. This is the platform that we've been building on. But you're right. Menopause is not some downward trajectory. It's hardly even researched because apparently, for the longest time, humans just thought that women were just small men. And so that didn't warrant researching or doing studies on women or exploring what could be beneficial for women's health. We'll figure it out with men. And I'm sure it'll be the same, right?
Yeah. I
But
think too, for like the premise of what began this whole thing that we're doing here was what came to me in the middle of the night is the myth of menopause. And, perimenopause. I think I was 34 when the symptoms I was having, the doctor, and this was a female doctor, diagnosed as perimenopause. And I'm like, I'm freaking 34 years old. No, but okay, well, now it's fibromyalgia. So menopause, perimenopause, fibromyalgia, we don't know what the hell's wrong with you. So we're just going to call it this and give you some drugs to fix it instead of getting down to the root cause. And there are a lot of people will say, well, yes, the root cause is in the gut. But from my perspective, no, the root cause is that you don't feel loved, you don't feel safe, and you don't feel worthy. That's what it actually is about. And then it manifests into the physical as all these symptoms. So they just put us into these containers, labels, boxes, cages
yeah,
of these things. And the one thing that you reminded me of was thinking, you mentioned women judging other women in a couple of different ways. You said that. And the thing that I always think of is in the Bible, the sisters had to dance and all look pretty and everything so that he could choose which one he wanted to marry. So, right there, women are being pitted against each other to get a man. And that blew my mind the first time that occurred to me years ago. I'm like, oh my God, yes, we are judging each other and fighting each other and trying to look better than other women to get the attention of a man.
it's
And
attention now, but back then it was survival,
well,
right?
and back
Which is
then
why it's
it
so deep.
was it was survival, of
Yeah.
course. However, that is still what it's about. We just
Yeah.
don't perceive it that way. It's still about survival. It's survival of the species. It can be literal survival. I need a home to live in. I need someone to feed me because we don't believe we can take care of ourselves because we're also conditioned to do that. So, yeah, that was a big awakening for me when that came out. And also the perimenopause thing, the lumping of the symptoms into perimenopause. There's nothing you can do about it. This is just something that you have to go through. I'm 34 years old. What do you mean I have to go through this for the next 20 years? No. What I could do is I could change my diet. I could exercise more. I could meditate. All these other things that we could be doing to improve our health that actually had nothing to do with a lack of estrogen or a decline of this or no. You need to freaking take better care of yourself. What thoughts are you allowing into your head? What are you watching on TV? What music are you watching? Who are you hanging around with? All of these things that impact us that are getting called perimenopause. And as you can tell, it pisses me off because they're taking
Yeah.
away our power. They're taking away our power and our knowing that we have control over what is going on in our bodies. We, as you said, we are not at the mercy of what is outside of us. We are in control. And so as I see it, menopause is that recognition that I am in control of what's going on in my body. I am in control of what's going on in my life. I get to choose what I want to do, who I want to do. That's funny. Who I want to
Well, that too.
that too. Like we have control. And the patriarchal system, not only men, because women are culprits in it as well.
We both needed to uphold it. This is the thing. We think that because it so-called favors men, and I have thoughts on this too, because it's not doing men any favors either.
No,
Just to pause there for a second so that we're not all high and mighty, like women are getting the short end of the stick. Men are getting the short end of the stick in the patriarchal system too, because
yep,
they cannot be full expressions of themselves either. This is
exactly.
ultimately a human plight. I know we're talking to women today, but this is a human plight. So if men are listening, because maybe you have a menopausal woman in your life and you're like, oh, maybe there's something here for me. There is, because this is a human plight,
It
right?
is.
And the answer that you don't want is that it's within. The answer we want is that it's out there, it's something we can't do, it's out of our control.
We're the victims.
We're the victim. Maybe we're going to feel bad about it, and then that will make it feel like we're doing something. And I don't say this with judgment,
No.
because I have been there. I have done that. I've complained. I've blamed. I've pointed fingers. I thought it was all my ex. I thought I was having physical symptoms as well. At that time, I was getting random weird rashes, and I was having all kinds of gastrointestinal situations. I literally thought I developed a dairy allergy or a gluten. I don't know. I literally tried all the things because I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me that I'm having all of these symptoms? No, it was emotions trapped in my body, stress affecting. And the thing is that then people think like, oh, I got to do all of this stuff to manage this. And of course, yes, invitation to do things to manage your stress and feel good in your body. But it's less of an out there thing than you think it is, because all of that starts within you with how you see yourself. You are literally through your perspectives, your mindsets, the visions that you see in your head. I'm not very good at visualizing, but I can close my eyes and imagine it in more of a felt sense. And that is where our power is. It's within, it's in turning to ourselves with compassion and grace instead of guilt and shame. It's letting go of the heavy weight of things that we've been carrying that are hurting us, that are causing us more pain and suffering. And oftentimes, this is simply through our resistance. I don't want to feel this way. I'm uncomfortable feeling this way. Women are not supposed to feel angry. It's okay if we're allowed to feel a little bit sad, but don't get angry because that's somehow now you're like a raging bitch. It's just so much for women to manage if you're focused on managing all of these things outside of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like the shortcut to go inward and to really focus on it. And my work is largely around relationships. I've been through 2 divorces, a broken engagement. Some people would say, well, you don't know anything about anything. But I would say I know a lot about a lot of things because I've had a lot of experiences and I've been through the shit. The beautiful thing about women as we age have done is take those experiences, glean the wisdom, and then create an embodied life based on that wisdom. Like evolutionarily, what is the purpose of the grandmother? The purpose of the grandmother is to teach, to guide, to bring that wisdom, to guide the younger generations. And this is not happening because we are in Western America and Western culture. We are like every fucking man for himself and woman, right? Every human for themselves. It's me versus them. It's us versus them. It's like the othering and the creating the independence and the hyper independence. And I don't need anyone else. It's created a lack of community.
Yep.
The very thing that people long for was belonging and community and sense of meaning something to someone that gives them fulfillment in life, because humans have this innate, well, we are love, right? So we have this love within us to give. And yet we're so busy doing all of these things and trying to keep up with society and trying to protect ourselves that it actually just ends up putting a whole bunch of layers of blinders on. We can't see that
Yeah.
we're the love. So we're seeking it. We're looking for it. We think if we just have this one more thing, we think if we just lose that weight, if we just find the right partner, if we have the house and the dog and the 2.5 kids and the picket fence, whatever, that then we'll be happy and we'll feel loved. And we get there and we realize it was never coming from any of those things. And that's what that break in my relationship really caused me to be like, well, hold on. Because in all of that, I realized the love is not out there. I've been waiting for him to love me the way that I need, or to meet my needs, or to see me, to hear me, to really accept me. I think this is a common desire amongst humans,
Yeah.
and it wasn't happening. But what I realized, all this, I thought, like, miss him. And I just wish we could have it back the way it was. I wish I could feel. I was looking in the wrong place. So no wonder I didn't find what I was looking for, because the love wasn't out there. The love wasn't in him. The love that I experience can only come from me.
Yeah.
And so my work is a lot about relationships, but ultimately it is the relationship you have with yourself. That is like the foundation. And
Absolutely.
if you are struggling out there, you're seeking, you're trying, you're hoping, you're wishing, you're dreaming, all of those things, I know, have been there. The more that you do those things, the more you continue to want and hope and dream and wish, instead of actually experiencing it, because
Yeah.
you're looking in the wrong place. And so
Yeah.
this is like an invitation to start looking in the place where you're going to find your answers. And that's within you. There's no guru out there that has all of the answers and can give you the right thing. You can go to a psychic and they can tell you what you still are creating it from within yourself. Like, you're that powerful. It's just that we forget our brain is wired to figure things out, to understand, to make meaning of. And it takes us down this tangent of seeing and creating and experiencing things, and then us being like, ooh, no, I don't like that, I don't want that. But then the more that you think about how you don't want that, the more you experience it, you find yourself back in that same loop, this loop where we feel shitty and we experience shitty, and it's feedback, data.
We attract what we are. And I think that on the one hand, it's a little black and white. I think there are random experiences that do happen in our lives, but generally, what we are experiencing on the outside is due to what we're experiencing on the inside. And it reminded me of something, several things. But my husband and I, he's my third marriage, we got married in Sedona in 2008. I like to say I'm a really slow bloomer. Like, my life path is just a lot slower than other people's paths, and that's all right. I don't judge that anymore. I'm an acceptance.
Yeah.
But we were getting married by this shaman minister guy out in Sedona. And he was a cancer survivor. He's like 7 feet tall. He's like this really big guy. And we were having our premarital counseling the day before we were going to go get married. Premarital counseling. And all of a sudden, so this was 17 years ago, very different person than I am now. He stood up in front of me and he pointed at me and he kind of yelled at me from my perspective. If you don't stop beating yourself up, you are going to die of cancer. And first of all, I was like, how does he know that I do that? How does he know that I do that? And he ended up recommending me to see this lady here in Minneapolis. Her name's Mavis Karn. And she was a counselor. And I went to her a few times. And she said to me, so this was 17 years ago, I was 40. And she said, as you said, we all do the best we can with the knowledge we have at the time.
Yeah.
And that was such a huge moment in my life path right there, because I used to joke that if you looked in the dictionary under the word guilt, there was my picture, because I always beating myself up about something, especially because the two abusive marriages and my kids having to go through that and blah, 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 blah. And so it was that lack of self-love that I had that was attracting all these other people around me who were not loving, who were not kind. And it's been such a beautiful journey for me in the past 8 years in particular, but obviously it's longer than that. But to be in this place where, yes, I still have my own evolution to do, right? It's a spiral.
Always growing. Yeah.
I'm always growing and evolving, but to be overall in that place where I know that no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter whether I have rosacea or not, or I have an extra 20 pounds, I am love. I am lovable. I am loved. I am loving. Nothing can take that away from me, because that is me. And that makes me teary, because it took me freaking 50 plus years to know that. And we can get into that state of the woulda, coulda, shouldas. If only I had known this 30 years ago, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not what my soul came here to experience. And it is what it is. It's that acceptance thing. And it's just a peaceful state to be in, because I used to live in a default state of fear. Lions, tigers, and bears. I was a problem solver. I lived in hypervigilance. I had PTSD, which would be CPTSD now. And now I live in a default state of joy. And it doesn't mean I'm always joyful. We have ups and downs. We're human beings, but it's where is that default state? Where is our baseline? And it's such an amazing place to be when you are in that baseline state of joy, of love, no matter what is going on in the world. And that's what my mentor used to say to me. What would it take for you to just choose joy no matter what?
Well, that reminds me of Byron Katie's teachings. And I think about this often because humans have a really bad habit of arguing with reality. We look at something and say, that shouldn't be like that. That's not how I prefer it. I don't like this. The shit is done. Okay. A lot of the times that we're doing this. So all that we're doing is we're creating our own suffering loop by arguing against what already has happened.
Past.
And so that's not you in your power. That is you giving your power away. That is you maybe living on autopilot. And that's fair. That happens when we have experienced trauma. We can get sucked into these loops and run on autopilot. That is the human protective nature.
Yeah.
And your true nature, as you alluded to, is, and insert the word that resonates most with you, but your true nature is love, peace, joy, bliss, happiness. Okay. So I'm the happiness hussy because I'm on a mission to spread happiness throughout the world, but not everyone resonates with the word happiness. And I think a lot of people confuse the word happiness with like a temporary state of being like, I'm going to have this coffee and it makes me very happy. But I see happiness as something deeper. It is more, and again, like words, right? Like one word can mean something so different to different people. But to me, it's like this stillness, peace, comfort, contentment. It is happiness because you're not seeking something else. It's different in that we think that we'll seek the thing, we'll get the thing that will make us happy. But that is a trap and that keeps us in the loop of seeking.
Yeah.
Our true nature is already that. And so the problem is we argue with reality. We don't like that. We don't prefer that. We're uncomfortable feeling a little whatever. We don't like that. So we have all of these preferences and we go out into the world. It's really all going through here. Our preferences, our filters are creating our experience of the world. The things we see come through our eyeballs and then the nerves and then our brain gives it meaning. And so we're like, oh, obviously that's a coffee cup.
Yeah.
And oh, I look inside, maybe I smell, confirm, yes, it smells like coffee. My brain takes the smell from my senses and translates it and says, yes, okay, this is coffee. But until we know that, it's nothing. I mean, it is something, but it's nothing, right? At the same time, until we give it meaning. So everything that we are experiencing is processed through the meaning that we're giving it. This means you are so powerful. This means that if you can become aware of the meaning that you're giving things, ideally in the moment, so that you can just start to approach things from a more neutral standpoint, right? Like Byron Katie would say, is it true? Can you absolutely know it's true? Asking yourself these sort of questions to pause the loop, interrupt, pattern interrupt.
Yep.
Actually, my first book, I call it the spiral stopper. So it's the same sort of idea as that. You pause the loop. Then in that moment of stillness, in that spacious pause, it could be a brief moment, but it feels spacious. You get to choose. You get to decide, how do I respond? It's not choose, I don't like this and it's going to change. Nope, that's outside your control. That's not in your power. Your power is, how do I respond to this? Do I continue to argue and say, nah, I don't like that. It shouldn't be like that. I don't like it. It needs to be this way. That's a waste of energy. And I will tell you, I spent a lot of time in my second marriage trying to do that, waiting for that and hoping and wishing, praying, dreaming, until I realized I wasn't living in reality. I was arguing with reality constantly and trying to create a different version of reality in my external world without creating a different reality in here and in here.
Yeah.
And that's where everything shifts. So when you take back reclaim, remember, you are already whole. You have what you need. You are adequately resourced. Compassion, love, acceptance. You're whole. And then you get to just move in the world, to be this incredible human, having this incredible human experience. And then you get to go and have fun. My word for the year actually is fun for 2025. It's like hit and miss, right? Because 2025 has been a bit of a shit show. But I experience a lot of fun because I'm intentional about creating fun in my experience. It doesn't, I mean, it does matter. I don't mean to be dismissive of the horrendous things that are happening around the world. I have great compassion.
Yeah.
And the more I focus on those things, the more time and energy I give to those things, the more I suffer. Now,
Exactly.
does my suffering help anybody else's situation?
No.
Not even a little bit. You're dragging that shit along behind you
Yeah.
instead of letting it just stay there. You already hurt once. My gosh. You already had this situation where you were hurt or you were ashamed or you did something you felt bad. Like, oh my gosh, you already felt that pain. Like, because
Exactly.
you are loved, because you are whole, you are already worthy and deserving of the most incredible life that you could imagine. You're not deserving of pain. You're not deserving of suffering. Those are not your true nature. Those are not your intended state of being. You're meant to be happy, peaceful, still, joyous, all of those good things, whatever feels good to you, but not like what you said, not too much joy because everything's whole, right? But we can really get sidetracked with doing things that don't serve us. And we can really get sidetracked with going after and trying to create things that actually we don't want, we couldn't handle anyways. And so we have to just really get clear and be real with ourselves. And part of that self love, the true deep self love, is connecting deeply with who you are and your heart's desires, the things that you're here to do things that light you up, that are fun, that bring you joy, that bring you satisfaction, that bring you fulfillment, that exist in community of like-minded people where you feel a sense of belonging and you can, learn to experience all these other things like trust and boundaries and interactions with other people. Those are things that you can learn and build on. It all starts with you. The foundation of every relationship, and that could be with money or with other people or with your children or your boss or social media or with politics, your relationship with anything outside of yourself is all built on that foundation of how you feel within yourself. And so, despite having been through a couple of really crappy relationships, my first husband told me a year into our marriage that we were like Will and Grace. And so I know everyone on this age range will understand that. And then I had another relationship that honestly was terrible from the get-go, but I was sort of like, well, he's not gay. So I won't have to worry about that. But then I wasn't worrying about the other things. Thought I had it on the third time's a charm. That also was not great. My people pleasing and the biological clock pressure, which is also not real because time's not even real. Again, whole other rabbit hole we won't go down.
Yeah.
Biological clock was telling me like now I'm like approaching, oh my god, approaching 30, like must have babies like yesterday. And so then I was in the relationship that I had with my kids. I have 3 sons with their dad. And it was not a good, healthy relationship. I was wearing masks and trying to perform and trying to keep up and doing all of these things. Women are so conditioned to like nurture and give. And I was fulfilling all of that, but I still felt like, but I don't know who I am anymore. I lost that spark. I lost that joy. I was waking up with a fucking rash on my arm and overwhelming thoughts instead of peace and joy and intention to have and create fun for the day.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, choosing me was what changed everything. That is what allowed me to create this incredible relationship that I have now. We are 7 years together. We've had like one little tiff. It was kind of recently. 7 years we made it. And it wasn't a fight. It
Yeah.
just was a misunderstanding, which
Yeah.
generally we're very good at avoiding all of those by simply asking questions. The more you ask questions instead of assuming,
Yeah.
you can avoid an awful lot. But this is not something that it's so simple, but people just don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So giving yourself grace and saying, oh, there is a tool that I could learn. Maybe it's just asking, what did you mean by that? In our little tip, that was exactly the question that would have probably made it not even a thing. So it's really interesting. And I really feel blessed that I chose myself
Mhm.
at 39. And I decided up until that point, I was thinking, I'm gonna stay for my kids. I don't want to have this broken family. I don't want them to go through that. And I stayed and I was like, oh, just 10 more years, which, oh my God, let me tell you, felt impossible.
Yeah.
Um, but I was willing to protect my kids more than I was willing to protect myself. And I think most mothers probably would relate to that. They would do anything for their kids. Meanwhile, I was disintegrating as a soul, as a human, as a person of my own. And so choosing myself was really powerful because I actually realized my kids didn't need that. They didn't need this broken, contorted, crammed in version of me that had rashes and overwhelming thoughts. They needed not a perfect mom either. Like, it wasn't that, but they needed a mom who was going to choose herself, who was going to lead the way, who was going to teach them, show them, be the love so that they could experience and see it for themselves what that would look like. And so staying in there and just giving, giving, doing wasn't teaching them that. It was actually teaching them how to self-sacrifice, right?
And you just brought up exactly where I was going to go, which is I know because, well, partly because I'm psychic, but partly because I've been doing this for long enough and my own lived experiences is I know that there are women listening to this. Choose myself. That's selfish. How could I do that? Like blah, 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 all those thoughts that we're conditioned with. But the reality is, when we choose ourselves, we are setting the example for our children so that they have healthier lives in all ways than we did. We are modeling that for all the other women who haven't been able to choose themselves yet. And then there's that beautiful ripple effect. So choosing yourself, choosing to not be in abusive marriages or all these other things, that is the healthiest thing. That is the most loving thing that you can do, not only for yourself, but for society in general. And particularly if you have children, choosing yourself is actually the best thing that you can do. I almost corrected myself with best, but now I'm going to stick with best. It's the best thing that you can do to help your children, to help the people around you, is to choose you and your health, emotional
Yeah.
being,
And
physical being.
worth it. You're so worth it. And I think
We're not
a lot
meant
of
to
a
suffer.
lot right. We've been really conditioned to believe that we're here to give, that we're here to be the nurturer. And so we do that. And to the point where there's nothing left of us. And
Exactly.
then we have nothing left to give. Okay. And so you started on this track because you're a kind, loving, generous human who wants to give love to other people. You want to care for and support them. Of course you do. You're human. You're like the rest of us. And if you continue to do that to the point where you've overgiven, you're burnt out, you have nothing left to give, you are not serving anybody, including yourself. So I know it's revolutionary, absolutely, to think like, oh my gosh, it's selfish. We've been told that. That's conditioning. That's programming. That's a lie. So
Yes.
invitation to try on something else today. If this one caught you, if what Chanin said, like, oh, that's selfish, if you're like, yeah, I think it might be selfish to do that. I can't do that. Or every time you try to do something loving or this comes up and you feel guilty about it, try this on. Try on this different idea that it's not selfish and that's just a story you've been told, that you bought, that you believed. Because what if the least selfish thing you could do would be love yourself so good that that overflows and changes the whole fucking world? This is the invitation to choose yourself, not just for you, because you would probably stay for the kids too, right? And not you, Chanin, but like
I did.
a lot, yeah, and a lot of other people out there. So choosing you, not just for you, not just to be selfish, but because choosing to love yourself will have that massive ripple effect. It will create change. It will change the interactions that you have with people around you, and that will ripple out. And I truly believe that's how we're going to change the world
Yep.
from the inside out, loving yourself back to life. That's how I like to phrase it,
Yeah.
because you were always love. It's just a matter of tapping back into that and remembering.
Yeah. Beautiful. Wow. This was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And I'm looking forward to listening to it again because there's just so much wisdom. And that's the beautiful thing about women, because this is what this is about, women coming together and sharing our wisdom. And as you said, as we get older, that becomes our purpose. I'm putting in air quotes for people who don't see the video. That becomes our purpose, is to be that elder, to be that wise woman, to share that wisdom that we have, some of us really fought hard for, to get and to survive life, you know,
Yeah.
depending on our circumstances, to be in that position. Like my oldest granddaughter just turned 12. And so she comes here in the morning and afternoon every other week after school. And it's such a blessing to get to spend that time with her. And we were talking this morning, and I got to share some wisdom with her. And it's cool to later hear her say something that I told her. I even had that experience with my own children, of course, too. But it's like 5 years later, they were listening to me.
Yeah. I'm still
Yeah.
waiting for that time. My kids are 15,
Yeah.
16. I have a bonus son, and then
Yeah.
17, 18. They still don't listen.
Yeah. Mine are 26 to 33. At some point, you're going to hear it and you're going to like, oh, they were listening all that time. I did
Thank
good.
goodness.
Well, what I would like to do now, and I feel like this is how this shows will end, is to take everyone through a brief visualization to drop some of the things, drop the weight of some of these beliefs and such and conditioning, and then visualize, who do we want to be? What do we want to have going forward from this moment forward? Because you all get to choose a new timeline in this very moment. It's in your power to choose a different timeline, if using that terminology. So different reality, however you want to phrase it.
Create your whole, well, my podcast is called Create Your Happy. So that's one way I might phrase it.
To
Right?
create your happy, your
Yeah.
joy, your bliss, whatever it is that word
Exactly.
resonates with you. It's your choice, and this is your moment. So I invite everyone, and Christy, if you like, to close your eyes for a moment. And at your own pace, take in a couple deep inhales and exhales through the nose, focusing on your heart. And if you like, put your hand on your heart. Feel the breath, feel your body, feel the love that is within you, that you are. And imagine this beautiful white light flowing from your heart, not from outside of you, from within you, permeating your entire body, head to toe, fingertip to fingertip. As it begins to purify your body, your mind, your spirit, to release some of this heaviness, this baggage, these beliefs, this conditioning that's kept you from creating your happy. Breathe that in. As we let go of this guilt and this shame that we have felt for a multitude of reasons, it has been carried forward from our ancestors, from our mothers, our mothers' mothers, where we've been conditioned to believe we have to do things for others to get love. Our value is based upon what we do. Let's drop that now. Just, you might see some of this like floating out of you like butterflies, just going out to the universe to be recycled. Letting go of the belief that we're not worthy of love unless we're giving. That we don't deserve happiness because we've done things, quote unquote, wrong. Letting go of this. You might want to even just kind of relax your shoulders, because that's why so many of us have neck and shoulder problems, because we have the weight of the world on our shoulders, the weight of other people's expectations of us, as well as our own, that we've been conditioned to believe. Just letting that go now. Letting go of the grief that we feel over failed relationships, over things we've said and done that we would like to take back. Just letting that go. Feeling that we're not good enough. No matter what we do, we're not good enough. We're not contributing enough. We're just letting go of that. Taking another deep inhale and exhale. You might even want to sigh, just like, I'm ready to be done with this. As we bring in, as we remember who we are, our core essence, our soul essence, whatever resonates with you, that beautiful divine being of love, where you deserve happiness, you deserve joy, you deserve peace and calm and harmony and compassion. You deserve it all. And you are it all. It's nothing that you have to achieve. It's nothing you have to strive for. It's nothing you have to get from outside of you, because it is you. You just have had all these masks, these lies, these spells, this conditioning, veiling who you are. We're removing the veils, yes. And so I invite you to think of one thing that you haven't gotten to do that would bring you joy, or haven't gotten to do lately, whether that is taking a trip to the ocean, or just sitting and reading a book in peace and quiet without anyone asking anything of you, whatever that is for you. Imagine that. What does that feel like in your body? That peace, that joy, that happiness. And know that you are a different person than you were when you started listening to this show with Christy and I earlier. It might not be obvious, but a lot of seeds have been planted, a lot of new energies, frequencies, beliefs. It's all been subtle, but it's your time now to be that wise woman, to be that version of you who doesn't take anyone's crap anymore, who chooses herself without guilt, without shame, who knows her worth, who knows she is love, she deserves love. And you then attract love, you attract what you desire, because you are that thing that you desire. Taking another deep inhale and exhale. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. My shoulders feel a little better. I've been dealing with my own shoulder problem lately. Thank you, Christy. This has been such a beautiful conversation. And for everyone also, Christy's information will be in the description of wherever you are hearing this. And I also invite you to join the Menopause Renaissance community over on School, where you can interact with Christy. Christy doesn't even know it yet.
It's a surprise.
I know. And then you're going to have the opportunity to talk more about what you do and how you help people over there. And so people can interact with you. And I just opened it. There's 8 of us in there right now. But I see it being that community that we all crave and desire, of women like us who are ready to become, remember, whatever words we want to use, remember who the hell we are, right? And be that version of us, and then be in community with other women who are doing the same thing. Because we go faster when we're together.
Yeah. We're not meant to do it alone. It's like our own personal journey, but we're not meant to journey alone.
Yeah. And it's so wonderful to know when we are going through certain things that we're not crazy. We're not the ones dealing with this. And to find other women who get it, who are compassionate, who are empathetic because they've been there. That's what I perceive this show to be. That's what I perceive this new community to be, is a place where we can come and wear our unicorn headbands and come as we are, messy, magical, whatever you are feeling in that moment. And so thank you. Thank you to everyone who is watching and listening. Please like, follow, subscribe, whatever is appropriate for wherever this is, because we're going to be doing more and more of these. I have, I think, 25 women who've raised their hands because they want to participate in this and help raise the vibration of the planet through being these beings of love that we are.
Beautiful.
Got any final parting words, Christy?
Hmm. Yeah. I just want to give you permission, whoever's listening, to take that feeling of wholeness from the guided visualization where we set down those beliefs and those mindsets and those ideas, those thoughts that were not serving us, and to take that state of being that underlies that and take that with you throughout your day and just simply observe when something is threatening to obscure your vision, threatening to allow you to forget that this is your true nature. And just an invitation when you notice it, no guilt, no shame, no beating yourself up, just to step back into it again and again and again. And this is how you can choose yourself today.
I love it. And with that, thank you all, and we will see you next time. Bye.